There is a question I ask everyone that comes to the show, and it is, when did you first take the lead seat? It is not about when did you get the title. The question is around, when did you decide that you're going to lead someone? It could be quietly and it could be in public. Today's guest has actually answered that question honestly. He did it while he was in school when there was no arts program. He did it during lockdown when the whole world was paralyzed and he was still training people at that point. He has done it again over and over. He did it with um, 9 to 5, where he was managing a studio. And he has actually answered that question every time he handed a brush to someone. Today, I have Shina with me, and this is the lead show. Welcome, Oluwashina. It's finally good to have you here.
It's an honor and a pleasure.
So, how long does it take you to? I mean, do you have a story that it takes you a long time to actually put out there?
For the works or for my personal self? Which one?
I mean, anyone works.
Um, for the works, it takes a bit of time to create or put a body of work together. Sometimes I'm inspired first by a theme or a topic before I create a body of work. While at other times, I just go ahead and start, then I give a theme to the work I create. So it depends.
It seems to the work you create. Um, I'm looking at what you just said right now. Like, you create a team for the work, or sometimes you start with a team. I think when you start with a team, you already like have a direction, an
Yes,
angle where you're
yes,
going. But
yes.
what does it feel like when you don't have a direction?
So many a times, just as writers, there's something called like a writer's block, where you're trying to write but you don't have ideas.
Hmm.
In painting or in drawing, there's almost a similar system. Sometimes you just know you need to create, but you don't know what you want to create. So rather than wallow in that situation, I just jump, go ahead and start something. Then after the piece is done, or sometimes along that creating or along the process of creating that piece, I something snaps. I'm like, okay, this is what this painting should be about. And
Hmm.
that's how that works.
Very interesting. Because come to think about it,
Okay.
I have seen paintings before. Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you right now. I've seen paintings before. I've seen artwork. I've
Mhm.
been to exhibition, and sometimes when I see them, I don't understand them. Right? Just like a couple of things I've seen here today. I look at them, I don't know what it means. Then you mentioned that there are themes and story behind every artwork,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? A lot of people don't know that, and personally, me, I don't know. So once I see that, I don't know what you're trying to say. But then when I hear the price, it's like, are you for real? Like, are you really for real? A lot of people don't know that today.
Okay.
So when you value your painting and all those things, what are the things you look out for?
Wow. That's a very subjective thing to approach actually when it comes to pricing.
Hmm.
And let me try to explain as best as I can. You can see two artists, A and B,
Yeah.
produce similar work of art with huge, humongous difference in prices.
Hmm.
And this is because, first, there's the tangible part of what pricing is, which is like cost of production,
Yeah.
materials, and things like that. They could use the same materials. But there's also something called the intangible part of production, which is
Yeah.
like your personal experience, your emotional attachment, your your creativity as an artist, and above all, I think your reputation. So those are things that you can't actually give a price to. They are priceless. So the artist is the only person that can determine what the value of that work should be or what price he or she is willing to command on a particular piece. So it's very subjective. An artist A could have a very cheap work of art, and an artist B could have a very expensive work of art, and they could look similar. So it's very subjective depending on the artist, years of experience. Those are what you pay for in the piece.
So you said years of experience,
Yes.
you said emotions. I
Yes.
understand the part where, you know, the production cost, maybe the canvas and the
Yes.
likes, the
Yes.
brush. I don't
Yes.
know. I
Yes.
don't know much about
Okay, but
painting,
you
but
mentioned them all. You
but
did
when
great.
you say emotions, it's like somebody coming to me and say,
Hmm.
"Come and buy my emotion." I'm
Mm.
coming to. What are we actually paying for? Your emotions, or I'm
Okay.
trying to understand that part.
No, you mentioned pricing and what
Yeah.
makes the difference. So
Yes.
that's why I use that to explain that. However, but yes, have you ever seen a work of art and somebody explains it? Maybe a curator explains the work of art, or you read a note about it, and you're like, yes, I can relate to the story. The painting is captivating, quite all right, but when you read about the work or what led to the piece, there is more value added to that work of art. So yes, you pay for it. Cost.
Do you think your background in business administration has actually helped you?
Well, a bit of both, yes, because there's a creative side as an artist, but the business side brings structure, it brings strategy, and it brings organization to it because you can be so creative, you can be so talented, but you also need structure
Hmm.
to manage your business, to manage your art. You need strategy on how to sell. So yes, it's maybe it influences my art, maybe not, but
I
yes, I
mean,
think so.
I guess that even applies to every other thing aside from,
I
painting
think
and
so.
hair.
I think
But
so.
let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
And back in school,
Okay.
you organized a program
Mm.
in a school where there was no visual art. Is that it?
Yes, that's correct.
And then somehow, I think a fashion store. I'm not sure what the
Yes,
show
that's
was all about.
correct.
Yeah,
That's correct.
you organized a show. What does it feel like? Because I've been there where you are planning events. It can be overwhelming, especially when it's your first time.
True.
Because
Very
looking
true.
back at your story, you were studying business admin. It has nothing to do with art. So
Definitely.
at that point, what was going through your mind?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. I'm happy I'm having the privilege to share this story today for people
Awesome.
to so I got admitted to Ekiti State University, then called EXO, or now called EXO,
Okay.
but then it used to be UNAD. That's University of
Yeah.
Ado-Ekiti, but now I called Ekiti State University. So there, I wanted to study art.
Oh,
I wanted to study art, but there was no fine arts in the school. So I was offered business admin, and I took it.
the reality of every Nigerian.
Yes, and I think everybody somehow has that side of their story as
Yeah,
well. But I never lost the interest to
in art.
pursue art so much that I would leave University of Ado-Ekiti, I would go down to Ife to meet my friend, then Wumi Adebayo,
Mhm.
just to know more about art. Something even took me to Zaria just to know more about art, and I was still schooling. So when I got back to school one time, I called a couple of friends together, and I'm happy of the kind of friends I have because if they had looked at me and said, "Boy, this is impossible," but nobody in my circle said this was impossible. They all supported the ideas, and I remember taking my school fees then to fund the project because everybody's like, "Who's going to fund this project?" I'm like, "I'll fund it," and they're like, "From where?"
School
And
fees to fund
yes,
your
I'm
project.
serious. It cost me an extra year actually, but I think that story is for it's for another. It cost me an extra year and an extra semester, but it's all worth it. I'm happy I made that choice, and I will do it over and over again. But we came together and put together what was called the first art and fashion exhibition in the University of Ado-Ekiti, where art and fashion never existed,
Hmm.
but it was worth it.
I mean, I looked at everything you had said
Okay.
using your school fees. Were you any money?
A little because I was doing some drawings here and there, but it was pennies, never enough to put together any show. So I had to go for the big chunk, and only the school fees then sounded like something huge enough to fund the project.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
When did art stop asking for
Hmm.
permission? Permission to like, I can do this. Permission to be like, okay, I belong here. Because even when the whole Nigerian thing is happening to
Hmm.
you, you
Hmm.
wanted art, you got business admin and all those things. So when did art stop asking for permission?
Um, it's a very technical question to answer because it's almost like you're asking for a time, a date when it happened.
Oh no.
But for me, it happened consciously the day I decided to pursue something that never existed because I was encouraged by my friends to go ahead and do it. But I think the actual challenge to overcome the fear of maybe it won't work or not work happened when I was like, you know what, let me take out my school fees and do this. That was the exact moment I stopped to seek for permission to make things happen and just step up and create a table where none existed,
Hmm.
in my opinion. I think so.
And that costed the extra year.
It did, but it's all worth it. It's
It's
all
all
worth
worth
it.
it.
I look back with joy now and I'm happy. I'm happy.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
In 2020,
Oh, okay.
there was a
The
global
lockdown.
crisis,
Yes.
lockdown.
Yes.
There was lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the middle of all that crisis, you came up with Croquiit,
Cricket.
yeah, a fashion illustrator platform,
Yeah.
and where you also train people on how to
Yeah.
like, do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first week like that period?
At first, it was just out of we are all locked down, we are all at home. The only place to interact is the internet. So just put your stuff out there, post and see how many likes. It was all about the likes then that let's see how many
True.
likes we'll get. Let's see. But then people started reaching out that, you know what, I love your illustrations. Can you take me on a class? I'm like, wait, could this be another way to make
To make money.
income while everybody's at home? And before you know, people started registering. And that's how Crooked became what it was then. For me, at first, it was just the desire to learn a new skill because I could not go out, I could not move. I'm like, okay, let me instead of drawing on paper and all of that, because I could not access materials. Everybody was locked in.
Lockdown, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if I cannot draw on paper, I'll draw somewhere else. And the iPad, the phone started, and Crooked became what it was. And I started training others as well on how to do fashion illustration. And yeah,
Wow. Do you have somebody that you you've trained or you trained or went through that program and
of course.
can you tell me about the person?
There's this lady that I know. I even helped her design a logo, and she's fully now into fashion. She's abroad. I've never met her.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to recall what that page is. I think I'll recall before the end of the show. But I designed a logo, put together some crooked for her and things like that. And before you know, this woman, I've started seeing posts of her selling fabrics, selling outfits. I'm like, man, this is
I mean,
wisdom. This is
it's
awesome.
always good to see. I mean, especially when you train people and you see them
True, true,
making
true,
progress, it's like that's the testimony because a lot
true.
of people don't come out to say, I train these people. Most times you
Mm,
see them coming to say, I mean, when I say I train these people, like the people that probably did not succeed or people
mm,
that, because I also remember that it's a time when I was having mentorship, this thing with some people, and I wouldn't say mentorship, more like organized classes for people that wanted to go into tech that year. And you see more like 20 people like show interest, but
okay.
before the end, you just see maybe two or three. And
That could be so discouraging sometimes.
yeah, it could be very discouraging. But I mean, you have somebody that you've not even seen, and you're able to like see
Well,
the
for me, it's
progress.
just a privilege because I never even knew that opportunities like that existed. So it's just a privilege for people to trust you with their money. No, we don't get it's not like a physical. enterprise that people walk into, but it's just
Mm,
online. So
yeah.
you just have to trust your pricing, trust everything, and like, okay, send the money. And what I did also was to pre-record some of the classes. So
Okay.
instead of it being a physical batch or a virtual live class, it's pre-recorded. So I can just send you the recordings and you follow the instructions, and that could help
It means the whole lockdown was not a barrier at all. So,
at all, at all. Though everybody was locked in, it gave us time to look inwards
hmm,
and innovate where there was limited access. So it was a good time actually. It was a good time. Trust me, it was.
do you think Croquet would have existed if there wasn't lockdown?
If there were no lockdown, it won't, and I will tell you why.
Okay.
Immediately after we started, when there was no more lockdown, my time went into other things,
Yeah.
and I had less time to focus on cricket. To be
Hmm.
honest, I had less time to focus on cricket because I have other jobs and other things I do. So if there were no lockdown, there wouldn't have been cricket.
Wow.
No, no, they wouldn't.
Honest
They
conversation.
wouldn't. They wouldn't. They wouldn't.
All right, let's talk about Painternimi.
Ah,
Yeah. In your word,
okay.
what does it stand for?
For me, Painternimi is very, very personal. I grew up in a family where I had elder egbons,
Hmm.
like cousins, that were into the painting thing too.
Yeah.
So I can say it's almost like a family business somehow from my mother's side.
Oh.
So when I was in school, if I have holidays, I would volunteer to follow some of my egbons, so to speak,
Hmm.
to the site to help. And I would just be sandpapering for them, just doing small. And I'll be asking them that how much can this business fund us? Like can
The
we
family. Oh.
yes, like can we live on this? Can we dwell on this? And they would make me understand that okay, it's possible if you pursue it enough. But above that, I started to see other young men like myself not having much to do. So I'm
Hmm.
like, wait, if this could fund my egbons, me, then it could also fund some more others. So after I left my egbons, got married, and started to do my own personal job, I was like, I'm going to retain this painting business.
Okay.
As I speak to you here on this podcast, I have about 5 or 6 hands working somewhere on site
Wow.
that would have enough funds to feed themselves and their immediate household. So Paint and Me was like a way to help others and as well help myself. But now I'm not on site. We have people on site that are benefiting from something I built. So that for me is very, very personal. I don't joke with it. I don't joke with it at all.
Wow. That sounds close to this philosophy, Ubuntu, the philosophy. Uh, I mean, permit me to bring it to this conversation, and I
Okay.
will tell you um, what I'm trying to think about.
Okay.
So there's this phrase. I don't know if you would call it a phrase. There's this Zulu word or statement.
Okay.
Ubuntu, Gubuntu, Gabantu.
Oh, Abantu.
It means a person is a person
Mm.
through other people.
Hmm. I like that.
You, yeah, you do not become fully yourself in isolation. You become yourself through a community, what you give, and what you are building or what you build
Hmm.
for others. Do you think you become fully yourself when you're building something for others?
I totally, totally agree. And if I could say what you said in another form, I would say that's what mentorship is all about. We live in an era where everybody is wanting to be so much self dependent or self made and self all of this. It's quite good,
Mm-hmm.
it's needed. However, there's a place for mentorship, learning under someone, is a place for also building others to be able to stand for themselves. So yes, I agree that you become someone by also building others. I do totally agree with that.
Okay. I'm going to zoom out again.
Okay, there we go.
I'm going to zoom out again
Okay.
because I mean, I love how you really explained that part of mentorship and the way you responded to the whole building of community and being under someone because a lot of people don't know the essence of mentorship.
Mentorship.
Like a lot of young people today, when they come to you, I've seen people come to me and after you even tell them, okay, they want to do this, why do you want to do it? Right. The next question is, when do I start making money? How soon can I start making money? And in all honesty, the economy is not really helping,
Mm,
maybe in some areas,
true.
right?
I
But
agree.
it's good to make money, but a lot of people don't know the value of mentorship, right? And it's all about the end goal to
For
them.
them, yeah.
Yeah, so I like the way you explain it. But if if you were to like start all over again, do you think mentorship would have helped you in a different way?
In a good way or in a bad way?
I mean, do they? Okay, people actually do mentor people in a bad way, but then again, maybe in a good way. Because, and the reason why I'm saying this is that sometimes it can be hard when you start by yourself,
Sure.
when you don't have somebody to hold your hand.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I think that's the essence of mentorship.
Hmm.
So, which is why I'm also asking you whether like it could have helped you.
Yes, I had mentors. I had mentors. I'm still menteeing, if that's the really word. Because apart from all I've created, I work as or serve as the studio director
True, that's
to
true.
to a studio,
Mm-hmm.
to a bigger artist than myself. And in the midst of all I've built, I've remained loyal for a good number of years.
Hmm.
I came in to the studio then as an intern, and today I'm studio director. So that's growth.
I mean, it's a big one.
And sometimes people be like, maybe you've been here for some time. Yes, it's true. When it's time to leave, I'll know. When it's time
Mm-hmm.
to expand, I'll know. But because this lady is always evolving, because she's always expanding, there is room for me to accommodate. So I have not outgrown that space yet to say, okay, I want to
Yeah.
try something or do something else for now. Tomorrow I could wake up and change. But because I've learned so much from her,
Hmm.
like so much that I can't quantify. I know she wouldn't want me to say too much, so let me just leave that there. But yes, so there's room for mentorship, and if you see an opportunity to to mentor under someone, please do take it. Do take it. I don't think any kind of mentorship would be bad actually. If it were, then you've just learned how to do it wrongly.
Mm.
Then you should do it better. That's just what it is. So there's
Yeah.
always room to learn from somebody else. And if there is one for you, please take it. Take it.
Hmm. There's always room to expand,
Yes.
and there's always room to change things around.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so let's look at the industry. Where
Okay.
do you think the African arts industry is in the global conversation right now?
Honestly, I think African art has always had its value. It's just that lately the world is starting to recognize it.
Hmm.
How so? Because big names in the art space, if you look at people like probably Pablo Picasso, um, Henry Matisse, these are people that will tell you or that have said it and documented that their works have been influenced by African art.
Mhm.
So definitely, African art is not gaining traction now. It has always gained traction, but the rest of the world is just starting to catch up and see it. So I don't think African art is doing great now. It has always done great.
I mean, I agree with you because I was reading something maybe sometimes last week. I can't remember the full story, but it was
Okay.
about how this whole art thing started in Osun State or somewhere
Art?
in 19,
Okay.
in I think 1970 or 65. I can't remember the actual date.
Okay.
And people do come. It's more like a community.
Okay.
Like they just do their exhibition and whatnot. And it's been, I mean, back in the days, I don't know if it still exists, but anyways. But yeah,
Well,
uh,
that could be an interesting article to to catch up with. But in recent times, we've had good art fairs. We've had Artex. We've had plus two, three, four art fairs. We've had a good number of art fairs that have been coming up back to back yearly, helping young and emerging artists to share their work with the world. So I don't know about the one in Oshun that you talked about. I would like to look for that article and find it, but there are current art fairs that have been constant for the past decade. So yeah.
you see, the thing is, while reading as well, because
Okay.
um, the what's it called? The creative industry
Mm-hmm.
globally now is valued at is it $2 or $3 trillion.
Interesting.
But then I realized Africa contributes to less than 3% of that. And you mentioned that we have, I mean, our work is being seen right now, and our work is being seen. There's a talent there, but where do you think the gap is?
Oh, there are a lot of factors in play. Actually, there's fault from the artists themselves, ourselves. There's there's fault from the galleries also. Galleries are the most times an artist is being represented by a gallery.
Hmm,
So there's also a gap there. There's also the economy itself. Sometimes the pricing range, what the work sells here and what the value is when you maybe change your currency and some there are some factors in play, but I think we just need to keep being consistent and there'll be a time where where that gap would be breached and artists will get the pricing or the recognition that they deserve.
So when you said pricing, could it be that our hard work is undercharged?
As I said earlier, it's subjective. It's
Mhm.
subjective. It's subjective. There are a few artists in Nigeria that are selling their works. A good, it's a art is a very niche market. It's like if you know, you know. So you don't want to go off trying to brag about your pricing, or it depends on what. If you place your work on what matters most to you, then that's fine. That's fine. Maybe it contributes to the general pool of trillions or not. It's still your work.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So I think that should matter more to the artist than what is being priced actually.
Interesting. Because
It is.
interesting. I mean, especially when you say we are paying for emotions.
As I said, it's priceless. It's priceless. So it's priceless.
So I'm buying a art. I mean, I'm buying an artwork right now, and even with the price, I would say it's priceless.
Yes, I know a few collectors that would do anything to preserve their art
But why?
because they love it. Because they understand it, they could relate to it. You can see someone buying an artwork that is worth your car or worth your house.
Mm.
So it's subjective, subjective.
But with all this work you are doing here, like you're involved with we involved with Painternimi, Croquiit,
Crooked.
and the studio. I don't know if you want me to mention the name, but I do know about
Okay.
so does that actually stop you from doing some things for yourself personally in terms of maybe I don't know, it could be an artwork you want to do for yourself or something?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't actually.
How do you manage all that?
It's a bit chaotic, to be honest. But I guess generally they believe that creative people are kind of chaotic people, disorganized and all of that. So, but that's where coming from a business side helps to have structures in place,
Mm,
to have strategies on what to put out there first. Am I ready to withhold some time to help support another artist?
mm,
Or am I willing to compete with another artist? So I think the level ground or the ground is plain and is enough for everybody to thrive. It's just knowing when to enter into the market, when to pull out, when to support, when to sit down, when to stand up. So, but to answer your question, it does not stop me from creating my own pieces at all. I have learned to manage my time as best as I can. As I said earlier, I have men handling Painternimi right now. Crooked is depending on demands. When the demand come, I can just reach out and get the job done. I also have a 9 to 5 with the studio
mm.
that I work around as well. So it's a bit chaotic, but the business side helps me to manage and put all of this in place.
So the whole point is that put structures in
Yes,
place. You must have
it
systems
cannot
in
be
place.
overemphasized. You just need that structure.
Interesting.
You need that structure.
Do you think AI can replace you?
Hmm. It's funny you say this because my boss will say, "Don't let AI take your job. Oh, don't let AI take your job." Oh." I'm like, me working 9 to 5 and shifts. I want to see the AI that will come and take the job. But actually, hmm, it's a very, very interesting question. Personally, I don't think AI will take my job. I
Why do
only
you think so?
think AI would make my job easier. AI will just make the job easier for me and not take the job.
Oh.
Um, for what I do, it's a physical art. Except the AI will generate that. It's a physical
That's
art.
why. I mean,
When I was working and you showed me something on the wall and like, oh, do you do this? And
yeah.
I just stopped you immediately and said, no, that's not mural. That's wallpaper. That's
Yeah.
different from mirrors because I do mirrors, which is actually drawing on walls, painting on walls. It's a different thing from printing and pasting on walls. They're two different things. So we are getting into a point in time where people will value what is being, what another person has taken time, energy to create than clicking a button and just producing something. We are getting to that era gradually. You see, you see.
So you don't believe that?
Personally, I think AI will help enhance what I do and not take it over.
Hmm. Especially when there's always a story behind you.
You get it.
When there's a story. But now, going back to that story part,
Okay,
yeah, because I'm looking at it, I'm still thinking about it. There's a story. Why do you have to buy your story? I
it's
mean, because
important.
what if this story doesn't resonate with me? Though the paintings are looking so great, right? Do I look at the story and remember you that this person, maybe you bought two houses or something, Abi, you did something, Abi. I don't know what goes through your mind. I mean, maybe you can even paint a scenario for us and then we'll see.
Okay, for example, um, for every work of art that is being created, there's a why,
Mm-hmm.
like why it was created. There's a when it was
When it was
created,
created.
and there's a for who it was created.
Is that the market?
Now, this is what I mean. When a work of art is being produced, it's beautiful, it's nice, but the artist most times will have an intent behind the creation, and every collector,
Yeah.
every person that is willing to acquire that work is always wanting to know that why,
Mm.
because every artwork would definitely speak to you in different forms, but a discerning collector is willing to especially if the artist is a living artist, is willing to meet the artist to want to know how that work is created or read about it. A collector is always interested
Mm-hmm.
in finding out what that link was
Yeah.
that caught his attention. He wants to find out what that link is for him. Because seeing a piece, you can just, without reading or without knowing who it was or who it is, you can look at it and say, "Oh, I love this work."
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody can walk up to you, "What do you love about it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Who made the work?"
Don't know.
Then it loses value instantly, right?
Exactly. Which is why I keep asking
So
like,
that's why that story, that reputation is very important. That's why you see a work from Van Gogh. You can't compare a work from Van Gogh with probably somebody that you don't know. But why? Because we know Van Gogh. So that knowledge is priceless. It's just something that cannot be quantified. It's just something that cannot be quantified. So that reputation is part of what is being paid for. That's why when I was mentioning what was captivating about or what inspires the work and all of that, um, the story and the reputation is also important. Very, very important.
so good. Um, I mean, so good.
Interesting.
So good. I wish every industry could have a story behind everything they do today, because I mean it's easy for you to say this is the story in the arts in art is it art industry? How do you call it?
It's
In the
fine.
creative
That
industry.
space,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish everyone could have this and say, okay, this is
I
why.
think they do.
Or
I
do you
think they
think
do.
every business should have a story
Yes, I
aside
think
from the mission and
that's
vision?
a story. That's a
I
story.
mean, it is,
That's
yeah,
a story.
it's a story.
That's a story. It's a story. In that case, yes, it's a story. It's like it's the organizational structures story, if I should put it that way. Your mission statement, your vision statement, that's your why. Why do you exist? Why do
Hmm.
you do this? For who's your target audience? Things like that. They form your story. So every piece should have one, if you ask me.
Have you ever been blank on the story to put out there?
Sure, many a times. That's where I just go ahead and start.
How did you get through it? Okay, just start.
Start. Sometimes midway something comes. Sometimes you can ask a few people. When you look at this work, what do you see? Tell
Hmm.
me.
In the midst of the
And
blankness.
somebody can just pull up something and be like, I
Hmm.
see it now. Yeah. There's a haha moment sometimes that just pops.
Hmm. Sounds nice. So if there is, because people are going to be watching this, right? And
I hope so.
so
I
if
hope I've not
there
said
is,
I hope I've not said anything that another artist won't like.
I mean, I don't know,
I hope
but
so.
is there, if there is an advice to give to somebody that wants to get into the industry right now, or maybe take a different path,
Hmm.
what would it be? I mean, what advice would you give?
Hmm. A creative part like the art part or just generally?
Just generally, it could be a creative path, but yeah.
Well, just as I was speaking to someone before I came here today, that sometimes the fear of the unknown is so challenging, but you never know if you are wrong or right if
Hmm.
you don't take the move.
Ah,
Just take the move.
the fear
Take the
of the
step.
unknown. Just take the move.
Just take the move.
Wow. Thank you
I
very
think I'm
much.
saying that to myself right now.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's so good to have you here
Thank you
today,
so
and
much. It's a
thank you for
pleasure.
sitting here with me.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, man.